Now, for people who wanted a little more background, Trey, can you tell us a bit more about Bitcoins and your experience with them? And I'm going to ask you both if you own any.
I currently have still left in my account 0.87 Bitcoins.
Okay.
I've used a few. I was first interested in the concept a few years ago because I always thought the next step for money would be to become purely digital.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of silly to carry around, bits of paper and coin, and it made things harder to track, like tax and things like that.
Or even a debit card, which is kind of a number in an account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to completely digitalize it in some way and have it centralized, I thought originally would be the best idea, but this is almost the exact opposite. So what Bitcoin does is using kind of complex maths and algorithm is get computers around the world to kind of use mathematics to both create money, but also allow the exchange of money without it being duplicated or spoofed in any way. So all the computers that are part of the Bitcoin network are sort of crunching numbers all the time and allowing the currency to exist and to be transferred from one account to the other.
And does everyone's Bitcoin kind of have a summary of the current accounts of everyone's Bitcoin? Like, does your Bitcoin kind of tell other people how much they have in their account so that way it can't be tampered with? Or is it not that simple?
I don't think it works quite like that. It's most Bitcoin accounts will be ones that you store on your own computer.
Okay.
And so the file that's encrypted on your computer is actually where the notion of how much money you have is stored. And it's a bit strange how it all works.
And what are the implications for the Bitcoin, do you think, for us, for society, and as a next nature perspective?
No, I think, it's a big question mark whether Bitcoin as it is now will stay.
Okay.
Because there are lots of problems.
You said you're not impressed with the Bitcoin.
I am impressed. I'm very much impressed with the Bitcoin, but it might also, certainly, if Bitcoin goes down, then there will be another monetary unit that's inspired on Bitcoin, and that might then be there to stay. So it's not, I'm not sure if this particular system will stay, but something is happening. And what I think is very elegant and interesting about this cryptocurrency, because it's based on complex math and algorithms that kind of locks it, and there's no human steward, like with the euro, the pound. The government is steering that, and they can decide to print more when they need. So there are people behind it, steering it, and that might be a good thing, but there are also power relations. And what I like about Bitcoin is that it's pure math, which I think is an interesting position. If you look at the classical distinction body-mind or matter-mind, then a gold currency is the ultimate matter currency, but the Bitcoin currency is the ultimate mind or math currency. Right. It's very, it's just a analytical construction. And the currencies we use today, they're somewhere in between. They're more messy in a way. So that's why I think, if not Bitcoin, there will be some other cryptocurrency being created that might be the new norm. Because there is something very elegant there. It's
possible that they haven't thought of all the pitfalls, because like any technology, there's a version in the future that might have thought of all those little things. So.
And one very clear pitfall is that it's anonymous, that you can buy stuff and it's very hard to track you. And there's already, there are all these stories out that it's being used by criminals and... I think in the end that's not what we want, because that's Wild West. And I think in the long run, anonymous money will not exist anymore at all. So probably the next step will be some kind of crypto Bitcoin currency, but then it cannot be anonymous. It will be connected through its owner, and it will be visible who's owning it. And
it is the de facto currency because it is anonymous right now. But if you think about the rest of the currency worlds, they've all been made not anonymous. Like, you can't walk into a Swiss bank account with £1 million in cash. Like Howard Marks told us 2 weeks ago, he was a huge drug smuggler. He's like, you can't do that these days. This whole bearer currency form, everyone tracks big amounts of cash. So now Bitcoin maybe is trying to do that, digitally. But I find it interesting. People talk about the Federal Reserve in America and how they do lots of bad things. They're printing money, they artificially hold rates here and there. But you could argue that maybe you need a human component in a currency market to basically say, wait a second, guys, you're going crazy. And you're from the country that had the tulip crisis.
Yes.
Was this in the 1400s?
I think also 16th century.
Okay.
Twice.
Twice. I mean, just to give a break, I mean, you probably
Yeah.
know better than me, but there was a point where people were spending outlandish amounts of money for the
Yeah.
most perfect tulip.
One tulip was the price of a large house.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But also, paper money was abolished in the 14th century in China. That they said, paper money, we cannot, it's not solid enough. We quit paper money. But then, of course, some period later, it's introduced again because it's also very practical to have paper money rather than a whole bag of coins. So there are always these back and forth developments.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even the guy that did Guns, Germs, and Steel,
Yep.
the author, he talks about how in Japan, like the gun, which was an advanced technology, became not used in like the 1800s because the samurai sword was considered honorable and a gun was considered disgusting. So it was basically, it disappeared. So it had like a technology reversal.
Which in a way,
Temporarily,
it reflects also a very sophisticated culture that they decide we're not going to use this technology. The only thing that happens then is that the Europeans at a certain moment walk in and they do use guns. And then,
They shoot you.
yeah, they shoot the Japanese.
Dre, what do you think is the future of the Bitcoin?
I think it's going to be interesting to see because, I mean, I thought that the money was definitely going to go this way, but I did not expect it to be so distributed. The reason why Bitcoin is interesting is because it's completely decentralized. It works much like the BitTorrent network, which is why BitTorrent is hard to sort of stop.
Right.
It's because everybody that's participating in it is equally responsible for the creation and maintaining of the system. So it's completely decentralized and therefore has a life that is completely on its own, and it's so much closer to nature than technology that it follows sort of evolution that we probably won't be able to kind of stop and control. It will be a case of if it goes extinct on its own without any input from us, I think.